Anyways, we'll check the game out. He opens horizontally with Rigi. My opening rack is kind of weird. And here I have the Q, so I could just play the Q. But I also have the chance to play off a lot of tiles elsewhere and try to draw into QI. And the likelihood of me drawing into the I is pretty high by itself. But also, if I play something like Townie, which is what I did, which is not a word, which I actually didn't realize when I played, but I could draw the I, and I'm somewhat likely to get QI down. So, yeah. I decided, okay, this is not right. I decided to go for it and keep the Q, which is not, like, it's not really a great idea most of the time. But I thought like the likelihood of me drawing a big Q play was quite high. And if we act like Townie is a word and we compare it to some other plays, I mean, this isn't a play. I don't know why this is here. We see, I mean, we have to wait a while to see, but we see the QI is already performing quite well. Who would play QI in this position? Robert Townie Jr. Who would play QI in this position? We're waiting for the let's remove these. Let's remove this too, because Townie EY has to be better if it's not getting challenged. I just thought it was like quite juicy to maybe draw the QI. And I guess bad case scenarios occur if he blocks it, and I even draw the I and I play QI here. He might score a lot in return. But yeah, this is the start of a not so optimal adventure in this game. So I play Town A, which is not a word. Doesn't get challenged. And I'm trying to draw into an I for QI when I can just play QI. I even draw into bingos a non-zero amount of the time with QI, which I didn't really consider that much. So yeah, Townie seems to be a mistake. Let's put some funny annotations in there. But yeah, this is the start of a pretty bad adventure. So here, Andy plays Vayne, and instead of drawing the I draw this stuff. And I'm just like, well, great. I am in big trouble. So I could play Mujik, I could play Jig, I could play Jib, and I can play QI. Or I can exchange. And I decided I'd play Jig, not because I thought it was better than Mujik, but because I've never had the opportunity in my life to ever play Mujik. And this wasn't going to be the first because I missed Mujik completely. Now, it's very ugly to keep BGQ. But when you have Mujik, you should probably play it. But I played Jig, better than Jib because it gets rid of the G and doesn't set up an E hook like Jib does with Jibe. And I thought, okay, now I have a small chance of drawing an E for Quate, which I don't really want to draw. Like, it gets 48 points, but then it creates a really big E hook. So prospects are looking pretty bad here. I'm hoping maybe like Andy doesn't have much to do and he might have to exchange, and that I draw an E. So jig, by all means, is a fine play, but it's a result of a not fine play. So we can start seeing the hole getting deeper. Andy plays Eon, and I draw the Z. And now I'm just like, oh my god, like this is overkill. Like, what is this junk? There is not a single play that I can make that makes any sense. And I can exchange a variety of things. And if my last few moves were any indication to me, I would probably have wanted to trade the Q, even though I have the U. But instead of that, I kept the QUZ, which has the highest static evaluation and also has Quate. Again, I can draw into Quate for 48 with QUZ. But I should have had enough of this already. I should have had enough of this Q business. The Q is the worst tile in Scrabble. There's no need for you to keep it over 3 turns, especially when you're exchanging and other exchanges are reasonable. Now, I don't know if this is the optimal play, but it sure as hell is the most frustrating play when it doesn't work out. I think in hindsight, I should have just gotten rid of the Q, even though I have the QU combination. Because as some people don't quite get, the QU, it improves the value of the U, improves the value of the Q significantly. But the QU combination is not by any means good. It is around a neutral combination, and it highly depends on what sort of board you have. If I keep QU and I draw an E, and then Andy just plays through the AT, or if he plays over here, where's my QU even going? It's like it's worse than ING in that way. Like, you need very, very specific spots for it to work out. I still thought this was fine, and it is. By all means, this might be the best play. But once again, because I opted to keep the Q on my opening play, I'm in a very unfavorable situation here. And it all snowballed. So, I keep QUZ. And Andy bingos. Why haven't I bingoed? Because I have the Q. I probably would have bingoed by now if I had played QI in my opening play. So here, I have one play and it's Quoth. Nothing else is really even worth considering. But I'll look at it for a sec. Zin might be cool to draw a quiz, but that's not happening. Yeah, Quoth is my play. I'm hoping maybe he tries to stick an S on it, which is not a word. But Andy knows better. Plays back for 42, making Quatha. And I'm down over 100 after making a mistake on my first play. So I have this rack. No, nowhere close to a bingo still, of course. And I play Zit. You could maybe play Phase here. Try and open some bingo lanes on the B column. I guess just one bingo lane. You got some funny back extensions. I was hoping for some extension of the word back at some point, but like a high scoring one like backfired or something. But yeah, here it's probably just best to score the points, deal with the board a bit later. Yeah. So I play Zit. Andy plays Dewey. Where did he play this? 29? Where does Dewey play for 29? Ah, just right there, of course. Making BY. I draw into this rack, still nowhere close to a bingo. I play Mafias. I could play Misad, actually. I didn't see that. There actually are some options here. Mafias is a natural looking play, but it creates a huge scoring spot here that is extremely bad for the board. So playing something else that is okay for the board, since I probably need to bingo on this board, might be preferred. So something like Misad takes away a scoring spot. Of course, the AF leave is a lot worse, but I'm probably going to bingo after Misad. Yeah, it says 10% versus 26%. I mean, that's a big swing. But Mafias creates a pretty uncomfortable situation on the board, so it's very likely that playing something like Misad is even preferred here. So Mafias comes down, gives him an easy play, and I actually draw into a bingo of disabled. So I'm back in the game, up by 2. That's not what he did. What am I doing? Andy plays meat. Or what does he play? Maybe that's not what he plays. No, he plays meh. Okay. Plays meh for 29. I misread my handwriting. And this draw was really important. And unfortunately, this was my draw. Or was it? I thought that was my draw. Why can't that be my draw? I'm so confused. Dodo. I can't have 2 Ds here. Guys, I don't know what happened here, but there might have been 5 Ds in this set. Because I definitely played Dodo for 22. Oh, I played it here. Okay. VIO. I don't actually know what the last letter was. That's the problem. I wrote my leave as VIO. But yeah, these were 6 of my 7 letters. I played Dodo. In big trouble now. ARF comes down for Andy. For 19, so he plays it here. And there's still 2 blanks out. I have neither of them. I have Vigorous minus an S. Oh, Guiro might be the play, actually. I think I just missed Guiro completely. That scores 28 points. Seems way better than Vigor, which is what I played. Because Vigor not only gives back the scoring spot, but also creates an S hook I don't have, and keeps OU, which is terrible for the unseen letters. VO is actually a much better leave for the prospects of my next move. So I totally missed Guiro. Another mistake. This is a huge mistake. I play Vigor in frustration. And I was remembering the Scrabble song. There's the Scrabble song. The lyric is started off with vigor. So oh wow. Andy had this cool play. He played App Lights for 77 with the first blank. And now I'm just in big trouble. I draw this a second U. I don't have the other blank, and I have to score because I'm down over 70, and a bingo isn't going to win me the game. I need to keep scoring, and I need to draw the blank probably. So I play Spur. Andy plays Ox, 37. And I draw the blank. So I actually have many options here. But they're all pretty bad. The problem is in this position, I can't score any points. And I'm down 78. Vigor is a word with a U, yes, in this dictionary. So the problem here is if I don't score enough points and I draw into a bingo, Andy can still just win. So I start calculating. And I'm trying to see if Andy just plays for 24, if I can ever win. And there's actually a problem. So I'm going to show you guys my score sheet here. And ask what you think the problem is. In this position, I have myself down by 88, 322 to 410. Sorry for spoiling the whole game. I misscored this play, and I gave myself 322 instead of 332. So this actually makes a humongous difference. And so in this position, I actually thought I did miss. I actually thought that I was just dead. Because if Andy has a 24-point play, there's no bingo that I can draw that will ever outrun that. But yeah, here I played Rut, emptying the bag, creating an S hook for my blank, and just thinking that I was a goner. And it's possible that I'm not. Like, it's possible that I can play TIL here and block the easy plays through the V and potentially win the game. But I actually still think that the math is the math, and I can't win. Because Andy here plays NEE with the empty bag. And that's enough for him to win after my out bingo of Mayo. However, again, I had the score as 10 points in Andy's favor. And this has happened twice now in the Word Cup, where I made a math mistake, which is usually pretty rare. And I made a math mistake in my opponent's favor. And at the end of the game, it seems like my opponent didn't notice or made the same exact mistake as I did. Or cheated. Which is obviously, again, if it's 10 points, there's no evidence whatsoever that there's any foul play. People make 10-point mistakes all the time. And people tend to trust other people's math too. So, of course, I would be curious to see Andy's score sheet, see where we both went wrong. I know I went wrong here with Spur. And it didn't end up mattering, I don't think. If I had played like Till 13, then he played NEE. Let's see. And then I kept ROUT blank. And I would have drawn, yes, say if I drew this. Is this enough? No, not even. So my highest scoring bingo of 77 points wouldn't have even been enough. So yeah, again, it didn't end up mattering that the math mistake happened, but it did happen. I'm very upset that it happened. I just noticed this now. Like, this is the first time I'm looking at this game. And yeah, I'm more upset that I just played poorly and lost the game. But final score recorded as 414 to 433. And I went wrong on the first turn, completely overthought the position, got myself into a really big rut early on, and then made a pretty bad mistake here where the game was still salvageable. And yeah, just couldn't quite make it back. And this puts me at, in the tournament, 5-5 after this loss to Andy. So after starting off pretty well, winning my first two games, being I think 4-1 or something, or 3-1. I'm now 5-5 on day 2, with a third of the tournament already done. And so yeah, this is a really bad loss, especially since I was facing someone a lot lower ranked than me. Because I just played 4 2000 rated players and then like a former world and national champion the round before. So yeah, I thought this was going to be an easier game. It was not. Andy played very well, and I did not. And yeah, that's how the game ended. So very, very rough shape after 5-5. I was definitely feeling really, really upset after this, and I needed to bounce back. But yeah, we'll catch round 11 and maybe round 12 soon. But this was a long enough video on its own. So I hope you enjoyed. And maybe I'll try and find Andy's score sheet to see what happened.